Welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Armando.
And today we're going to be talking about the brand new announcement that came out 2 weeks ago. WWE officials made it official. WWE Evolution, an all-women's pay-per-view, coming October 29 from Long Island, New York. We'll get into that a little bit later, though. But let's start off with...
Also, we have a very, very good show today. Very excited. A lot of material we're going to talk about. I know it's been a while, but hey, we're excited to be here today, and, let's get on the first topic today.
If you do stay till the very end and listen to this from beginning till end, we love you. If you don't, we still love you too. Thank you for the support. All right, let's get started with Monday Night Raw. So the very first thing is Roman Reigns starts off the show. As always, I'm not entirely surprised. He comes out and he basically says he wants Brock Lesnar. He calls him out and he's like, I'm going to send him back to the UFC. No longer as the Beast, but as my bitch, right? Now at this point, I'm like, what? Because we've seen this match, 3 times already? We're going on our 4th.
3-4 times, so it's a match we've already seen, like you said. And we just wanted to see something new.
And this promo was actually, I'll give him credit where credit is due. This promo was pretty good. I'm not going to lie about that. But I do want to state the fact that we've seen this match 3 times already. Do we want to see it again?
I wouldn't. I would have loved to see Beast versus Bobby Lashley. Anybody else would have been great. But, we'll see what happens in the SummerSlam.
And take into consideration that Roman Reigns hasn't beaten Brock Lesnar at all. In all the matches that they've had, he hasn't been able to conquer the Beast just yet. Will this be the time that he does it?
Probably. I think he should beat him this time. He was pretty close at the Greatest Royal Rumble. I know there was controversy on that. I don't know. I think this one I'm going to give it to Roman. I think it's time for him.
What do you think Roman has to prove? At this point in his career, what does he have to prove?
He's just got to prove that he has to beat Brock Lesnar. That he's the uncrowned champion, pretty much.
That there will be a different outcome this time, right? Than what there has been the last 3-4 times?
Exactly.
He has to prove himself, that he can do this, that he can beat Brock. And he has to show, all the haters that this is his time. This is what he wants and that he belongs here.
And Brock Lesnar, I feel, is his only obstacle that he needs.
You think so? You
Yes.
think, after this, that will be what puts him on the map, what sets him on the radar?
Not necessarily, but I feel he needs to beat Brock Lesnar. Personally, Roman needs to beat Brock Lesnar.
Okay, another reason that Roman may be winning is that Brock Lesnar never shows up. He's never there.
Yeah, he's pretty much focused in the UFC already.
But keep in mind that Brock Lesnar is going to the UFC to challenge for the UFC Championship, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And this match won't happen until January of next year, I believe.
I believe so,
and
if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Like Paul Heyman said, if he wins at SummerSlam, will he walk in on January being a multi-sport champion? You got to consider that. That's something that's going to make people talk. It's going to keep not only the Universal Champion on the radar, people are going to be talking. That's something that McMahon likes. He likes when people talk about his product. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually the outcome. Again, I'm not saying Roman shouldn't win because at this point, he should. There's only so much they can do with this match.
And like you said, he's that type of caliber star that when you mention Brock Lesnar, you want to see it. He's the one that sells tickets and all the merch and brings all that income into the WWE outside of the WWE universe. So that's why he has that contract. And everybody argues that he's not there, but at the end of the day, He's the moneymaker.
Yeah, he sells merchandise, he sells tickets. You mention his name, and people are like, "Hey, I want to be there."
You want to tune in. Like this week, for example, he hasn't showed up, and they mentioned Brock Lesnar was gonna be there. What do we all do?
Tune in, right?
We all tuned in,
and you watch it till the end to see which part
he's kept us
come
waiting, and that's why Brock Lesnar is what he is in the WWE, and he has that contract because they know no matter how much hate he gets, and if he's not there, whenever he shows up, he's gonna sell.
Yeah, it's kind of like a John Cena thing. He's not there, he could be gone forever. He shows up, and people are like, "Hey, he's gonna be there. I'm gonna buy tickets," right? Let's get towards. Well, we'll skip to the end, right? At the end, obviously, Brock Lesnar ends up coming out at the end of the show. At the end of the show, let's keep that in mind. He comes out at the end of the show, and who do we see? Kurt Angle and Paul Heyman, and obviously before this happened, Roman Reigns got kicked out of the arena because apparently Stephanie wanted to protect the main event of SummerSlam, which we've already seen so many times. I don't know what there is to protect, but you know, she wanted to protect it. It is what it is. She is in charge, you know. But let's get into this really interesting part. Paul Heyman is out there, you know, he's talking. He's about to get fired, and he does get fired. And then Brock Lesnar shows up, which was part of the condition that Kurt Angle said. If he shows up tonight, you're not fired. If he doesn't show up, you're fired.
Keep in mind, he showed up, but he had to make his way to the ring.
Yeah, he had to make his way to the ring. And so Brock hears that Heyman is fired. He comes out, and he tells Constable Corbin, and he tells Kurt Angle, "Do you have a problem with me? Do you have a problem with me?" And then he just F5s Kurt Angle, right? Corbin was brilliant, and he just like walks away, and he was like, "I have nothing to do in this." And then something that Armando and I have been talking for the really longest time.
Keep in mind, me and her have some conversations before we come on live in our podcast, and we had mentioned this to her, but we kind of didn't put a lot of thought into it. So Brock Lesnar grabbed Paul Heyman by the throat and pretty much choked him and said, "Do you see this to what he did to Kurt Angle?" So don't be surprised if come SummerSlam, Paul Heyman betrays Brock Lesnar. Don't be surprised.
And do you think he's going to side with a certain someone?
You know what? I think he's going to side with Roman. Roman should definitely side with him. Yeah, I think it's what he needs in his career. He needs an advocate. And if we have that advocate, it's going to take him to the next step. It's what he needs.
It's kind of like the Brock Lesnar thing. Brock Lesnar shows up and he kicks ass, and Paul Heyman does all the talking. He does all the work. He does everything to get the Beast to where he has to be. Because let's be honest, if Brock had to cut a promo, I'm not entirely sure it would be the same as it was Paul Heyman cutting a promo. Yeah. So having Paul Heyman by his side is going to extremely elevate his career. Heel or face, I don't know. I kind of want to see the heel side, even though I know why they don't turn him. They don't turn him because they're saying he's already getting a reaction. He's already getting booed. Why should we already, turn him when he's already getting that reaction? But trust me, it will be one of the greatest things if he does turn. Okay, let's get into the first match though. Let's put the whole Roman and Brock feud aside, and let's get into the first match of the night, which was Constable Corbin versus Finn Balor, the bootleg Corporate Kane. I think it's a weird setting for him. Like, I'm not used to seeing him, kind of like in the management type thing. I'm used to seeing him out in the ring and wrestling. Two superstars who've they both have potential in the WWE. I mean, Finn Balor is one of those who's been super successful both in the Indies and NXT, but I haven't seen him show his full potential on the main roster. I feel like there's still more he can do.
He's the lost soul. They don't know what to do with him. Piggyback on Baron Corbin. Personally, I don't like what they did with him, but I see because he's getting a lot more TV time, which is, anybody will take it. And some of the matches that I've seen, he has this aggression, more confidence. So I think it's great, but They could do better.
Yeah, they could definitely do better with him.
I liked him when he was the lone wolf.
Hey, you never know. Maybe this is like a way of elevating, microphone skills and stuff like that for him to get more comfortable talking.
And that was another thing too. He didn't have a lot of good microphone skills. So this is pretty much helping him, and I mean just to have Stephanie be the right hand of Stephanie McMahon.
That tells you something.
Tells you something. So
yeah, every time somebody sides with the authority, we know what happens. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Like Armando did say that Finn Balor is the lost soul of the WWE, but I do want to say something. Like, ever since he won the Universal Championship and he got injured and came back, he hasn't been the same. I feel like WWE lost all faith in him. You know what I mean? Because, like, they gave him the push. He won the championship, and then he just kind of vanished from there, He came back and hasn't really been in, like, a proper storyline. Has kind of just been floating around.
Yeah. I mean, I would personally like to see him in 205, just because 205 needs a huge name face in that brand. And I think he'll be great. I mean, he does extraordinary things. Now what he would do with all the cruiserweights.
You think he needs a small caliber title?
Yes. He needs a small caliber title. I think that's gonna push him towards a bigger title.
I mean, he technically is under 205 pounds, so we'll see what they do with him. I mean, that's a great idea. Put him in 205. Let's get into the next match, though. Alicia Fox, sorry, my bad, with Alexa and Natty with Ronda. Alicia Fox has been gone for a really long time. She's finally back, and she gets to face Natty. We haven't really seen much of Alicia. She's been gone with an injury. This is her first match back, and she hasn't lost a step. She's super underrated, though. She has so much potential. She puts on great matches, and gets people invested in her character. Like, she just acts super crazy. That's something you don't see in the women's division.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of their own thing, but they're all kind of the same at the same time. When she was placed, like, with the Bellas, if you give her a proper storyline, she delivers. She was placed with the Bella Twins. Her storyline with the Bellas was one of the best in her career, personally, in my opinion.
That was probably her best run in the WWE.
Yeah, because her character was up there, and she was giving those good matches.
I also liked her match she had in Raw this week. Like you said, she showed a lot of potential, but mostly it was all the aggressiveness, and even though she lost, she still attacked Ronda Rousey. I mean, for Foxy to attack Ronda.
Yeah, she had some serious guts going after Ronda. I mean, nobody said she had to go after her. She just saw Ronda coming at her, and then she was like, you know what? I'm gonna go help Alexa.
That just shows her level of skills and the confidence in her.
Her dedication, that she didn't have to do that. Going up against Ronda, it's kind of insane. Let's get.
Oh, and by the way, I call Alicia Fox. I call her Foxy.
Yeah, he calls her Foxy. I'm pretty sure a lot of us do too, but just a fun fact, he does call her Foxy. Let's get into Natalya. She's always a team player, and spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert. Just like Paul Heyman likes to say, we are calling it right now. Natty turns on Ronda, and she could possibly screw her over at SummerSlam for for the title, or she just randomly turns on her one day. No clue, but we are calling it right here, right now. On Wrestling with Siblings, Natty is turning on Ronda, and they will feud.
Yeah, you heard it here first, so keep that in mind.
Natty can cause her the championship. I mean, think about it. She could be jealous because Ronda actually has the opportunity at the championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, She does. She's been working towards it, and since they've been friends and training with each other, so.
It's always been kind of fishy though. Like if you really think about it, out of nowhere, Ronda and Natty just.
Even though I don't see Natty doing it, it would just be where one of those where she tries to help out Ronda and accidentally excuse her, and that's where something's gonna happen, where they're gonna start feuding with each other.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, at that point, Ronda would still retain, in my opinion. I don't really think Natty would beat her for it, but it's going to happen, and it's bound to happen. Natty is the one that's going to turn on Ronda, and let's face it, Natty is better as a heel.
And on top of that, just throwing it out there, it could also be the factor of jealousy. I mean, how long has Natty been in the WWE for?
Yeah, she's been there for over a decade, I want to say, and she's had very few title opportunities.
And Ronda's been there for only a couple months.
Yeah.
She's already getting a title shot. So.
Yeah, I would see why she's upset. I would be upset too.
Yeah.
But we'll see where that goes. And let's get into something that's really captured my attention lately, the last couple of weeks. Braun Strowman's character. Obviously, he faced Jinder Mahal. And he lost via countout because Kevin Owens' distraction. They do have the stipulation at SummerSlam that if Kevin Owens wins, whether it be by DQ or whether it be by countout, it doesn't matter how he beats Braun Strowman or how Braun Strowman loses. If he can beat him one way or another, he becomes Mr. Money in the Bank. I mean, how do you do that? How do you strip somebody from something they've already won? It's kind of like the Rumble. You win the Rumble and then you just lose your opportunity at the main event at the Royal Rumble. Like, how does that come into play?
But then that's just Kevin Owens being Kevin. I mean, he's just being sneaky all the time and finding his way to weasel
his way into the main event, into the title picture,
Exactly.
And see, that's what makes him interesting. He's always doing something different. He's always doing things that, are out of the picture. As to where Braun Strowman, he let him get into his head, and, he lost. Does that happen at SummerSlam? He's losing the Money in the Bank briefcase. But what I do want to see, though, is I want to see Braun Strowman interrupt the main event, which is going to be Brock versus Roman. I do want to see him cash in, because as you said, you think Roman's winning at SummerSlam.
Yes.
So, do we want that ending, or do we want to see Braun Strowman? Because personally, I want to see Braun Strowman become the Universal Champion.
I would too. I mean, he's the top guy right now. One of the top guys right now. It's just a little example. He kind of reminds me of the Big Show when he first started. When Big Show started, he was the monster. He was the one that was dominating, and
people were afraid of him because of his size.
Exactly. He was just a natural giant. And I see the same thing with Braun Strowman. That's just hopefully his career doesn't end up like Big Show's, where Big Show didn't really end up doing as much as we expected him to do. So hopefully with Strowman, it ends up a little better. Yeah. So
I do want to see him in the title picture, though, whether it's at SummerSlam or not.
I think is great. I mean, get these hands.
And that guy, his size can do so much. I mean,
I saw that match versus Big Show,
Uh-huh.
and it was amazing. Their athleticism was.
My God. Two guys that size to pull on a 5-star match tells you something. That guy has insane amount of talent.
And I'm mad at Braun Strowman because he didn't want to tag me in at WrestleMania to be his partner.
I know.
Nicholas, what? It's okay.
We like Nicholas, so it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, he was just kind of disappointed that Braun didn't pick him. He was over here raising his hand. You know, if you guys can find him on the WrestleMania DVD, let us know. We'll send you something.
Exactly.
We will send you something. Just like DM us on like Twitter, Instagram, email us, comment below if you find us. We will send you something. We won't tell you what it is, but we'll send you something. Alright, let's get into my favorite match of Raw. Yeah, my favorite match of Raw. I was thinking about it for a second, but no, this is my favorite match of Raw. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. It was the best match of the night, in my opinion. Okay, let's get into Drew McIntyre for a second.
In my opinion, like you said, he should have learned from McIntyre on how to be a heel. It's going to help Roman develop his character. And just McIntyre backs it up in the ring. I mean, he's just amazing. Leaving to the Indies really helped him out. And he's just come back bigger and better than ever. I mean, I see him as a future
champion,
Universal Champion or WWE Champion.
Depending on the brand.
Yeah, but he's got my vote. I mean, I don't be surprised if the next pay-per-view, not this one or upcoming ones, he'll be
somewhere in the near future.
Yeah, and in the title range.
You know, what do you think about him getting paired with Dolph Ziggler? Because I think it was pure genius to have somebody with Dolph and then give Dolph, that championship that he needed. And it's usually his title, the Intercontinental Championship. What do you think about the pairing that they did there?
I think it was great. They kind of give me a resemblance to Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash.
Ooh, that's a great resemblance.
Yeah. I mean, I've always and I've told you this, since day one, that I kind of saw Dolph Ziggler as the next Shawn Michaels. Just because the way he dresses, he comes out with the black pants, the white boots, and the way he does the super kick.
And this week, remember how I told you when he came out, I was like, oh my god, he reminds me of Shawn Michaels. Yeah. The outfit he had on this Monday, I was like, wow, he completely does look like Shawn Michaels. I see where you're coming from that. Now let's get into somebody like Seth Rollins. We're going to make this one super short, and I'm sure, the majority of you guys can agree with us on this. Seth Rollins. What's next for him? There's really nothing to say about him. He's super talented. He proves everything he has to prove every night on Monday Night Raw. And basically, that's it. There isn't much to say about him. So, we'll see what they decide to do with him. I feel like he's also kind of just flowing around and stuff. Let's get into the next match, though. It was the Revival versus Matt.
Yes, I believe so.
The Revival. What do you have to say about them? I haven't seen them a lot personally. I don't really, and I'll be completely honest, I haven't really followed their career. I haven't seen a lot of them. I don't know what their full potential can be. But hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what WWE does with them.
They remind me of a really old school tag team, just aggressive. They're not there to mess around. They're there to win titles and kick some butt.
And prove themselves, For those of you that already know them, that might not be the case. But to us, it's they kind of have to prove themselves because we haven't seen any of their matches like that. And I didn't follow them down in NXT. So there's, really not much we can say about them. But let's talk about the opposite team now. Bray and Matt.
Oh, Sorry, I've been practicing on my broken Matt impression.
He does this every single day, and every single time that we're watching Monday Night Raw, he just has to go and
it comes out wonderful.
And he just does that. So
she gets annoyed. I just love doing it.
It gets annoying because he does it so perfectly, and he does it every day. It wouldn't be annoying if he didn't do it every day. But to be honest, I didn't see Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy being put together as a tag team. I honestly did not think it was going to work. And hey, it's worked so far. I mean, you have somebody like Matt, who's a creative genius, who's created these beyond life characters, you know what I mean? And I mean, so far he's done a great job with Broken Matt. I just feel like WWE hasn't really given him the proper storyline with it as of now.
I liked Bray Wyatt. He was champion. I think he should have been the next face of Fear. Face of Fear. That WrestleMania where he faced the Undertaker. I think that should have been the passing of the torch.
I mean, when you give him a really, really good storyline, that man puts on a show.
I mean, all his storylines to this point have been awesome.
Some of the ones that have like completely stand out to me at least, or I don't know if you'd agree with these, have been the ones he's had with John Cena, the feud with The Undertaker, the one he had with Randy Orton, and now recently like the one he had with Matt, where he actually got to go to the Hardy compound. They actually got to fight. I love that storyline. You know, every storyline he's had with those people that I just mentioned have been great. I don't know how you feel like about his storylines, but like you said, he is the new face of fear, and I'd like to see a lot more from him, you know? Alright, let's get into something that has been the talk for the last couple of weeks. These two started off in NXT. They've delivered some of the greatest matches that we've seen today. Sasha Banks and Bayley, the Boss Hug Connection versus Liv and Sarah. We've seen this match a couple of times, but I just want to, give you guys another spoiler coming here on Wrestling with Siblings. I just want to say that obviously, Sasha Banks and Bayley are now a tag team. That could possibly lead to a possible tag team title run in the near future, or you just never know. And, eventually that's where they split, and they're going to get into this fight, and it's going to become a feud between the two of them. I don't know when, but it is going to happen. It's going to happen as soon as, this October. We just don't know for a fact yet. But I am looking forward to that. They've both had excellent matches down in NXT, and I really would like to see them go on, to a WrestleMania match, if possible. Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. I've said this before and I will say it again. I'm pretty sure I said it on our podcast before. Liv Morgan is the future of the women's division. That woman, she can wrestle. She proves it every single Monday on Raw. She has great matches. She delivers. There's not much to say about her other than stay tuned for what's coming for her. A lot of people still think she's a jobber, which technically she still is, but you gotta give her credit where credit is due. The woman can wrestle. And somebody like Sarah Logan, haven't seen much from her, but I do think it was a brilliant idea to pair these three together. I think they've done a really, really good job in helping each other, and elevating each other's careers. They've all had excellent matches as of now. That was basically the end of Raw. Now we want to get into something we spoke about earlier during the show. Yeah, in the beginning of the show. We started off with the announcement that was made, the pay-per-view announcement that was made 2 weeks ago by WWE officials. They announced the first ever all-women's pay-per-view. And honestly, I think the women's deserve this moment, Every single one of them, from generation through generation, have worked so hard to get to where we are today. If it wasn't for people and legends like Trish, Lita, Beth Phoenix, the Bella Twins, etc., we wouldn't be here today. So, we just wanted to get a little bit into that. So, do you think this show will be a success or not a success? Let's get a little bit into this.
That's a tough one. I think it'll be a success if they get booked right.
Obviously, that plays a huge role in everything,
because the talent is there.
Yeah, and they have.
And from what we've seen from some of the women's matches, they haven't shown their full potential. We were piggyback on Sasha
and Bayley.
They were just tearing it up in NXT.
And so were the other women. Don't get us wrong, but we're just giving you examples.
I feel that they're just holding back here in the main roster.
Yeah, there's something that's holding them back. If you look back at the Charlotte versus Natty match in NXT, that match completely killed it. If you look back at the Bayley versus Sasha at NXT TakeOver, oh my God, people were at the edge of their seats. That's where the whole women's wrestling thing started. I mean, we've seen some of the greatest matches down in NXT, and in the main roster, we haven't really seen that,
And I think that's the level we're waiting for. That level of wrestling that they had in NXT, is what we want to see in the main roster.
And we're not, like, trying to hit on them or anything. We love the women. Armando knows I am a huge supporter of women's wrestling. Like, I love these women. I support each and every single one of them. But the quality of the matches have to be there. If WWE can pull that off and give us quality matches, lengthy matches, where everybody's going above and beyond and, exceeding the potential, this show, this pay-per-view, is going to completely kill it. It's going to be one of the best.
And I gotta say, this is probably one of the best women's roster that the WWE has had.
In a really long time.
Long time.
We have, but the WWE has, women like Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, Liv, all these women, down in NXT, down at the main roster, like Naomi, Natty, everybody that's there right now has, done something to get to where we are today. And it's just, it's something that if it's booked correctly, it's going to be a complete success. They have the fan base for it, and they have enough women to do this now. And I think, now was the time. This was perfect for it to be done now. Hopefully, we get some really good matches. We could see some dream matches.
Yes.
Because there is going to be legends there. Trish and Lita are going to be there. The Bellas are going to be there. Cough, cough. I know the woman from the main roster will be there. NXT will be there. It's going to be all women's pay-per-view. All the titles will be defended. So
I'll tell you this, though. This could definitely make them or break them. What is yet to come.
I mean, they still have to main event WrestleMania, and
Yeah.
this can prove if they can really main event a WrestleMania. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they can't, because I would love to see them main event WrestleMania in the near future.
We know they can main event.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that is this pay-per-view gonna be a yearly thing, or is it gonna be a monthly thing where it's gonna come into play? And that's where I mean, is it gonna make them or break them? Because
Yeah.
if it's a success, that's where you come in and be like, okay, do I want to put this as,
Do you want to put it out there monthly, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you can just do it every year, kind of like the Mae Young Classic type thing, and have it be a success and have people be like, I want to be there. And you can even take it to different locations.
Yeah. And that's the question, and that's where I'm getting at. So it'll be interesting. It's exciting. It's the first ever. So we'll see how that goes.
There's a lot of expectations for this, I feel, coming from the fans, because it's those of you that follow wrestling know that the WWE universe is super protective of the women's roster and what they do with the women. So this could only go two ways. It's either super perfect and things come out the way the fans want it to, the way WWE wants it to, or it's a complete disaster, which I hope it isn't, because I want to see them, flourish and do all these amazing things. I mean, they've already, main evented pay-per-views. They've had ladder matches. They've had TLC matches. They have had, Elimination Chamber, etc., etc., etc.
And again, I'm going to have to piggyback. It has to be, like we said, the quality of the matches. Up until now, have we seen those quality matches that we were looking for, that we saw down in NXT again?
Yeah, so I completely see, where you're coming from with, the whole quality thing, because...
So I'll give you an example. Think of the first ever women's Money in the Bank. It was exciting, but was the match really what you expected? Did it live up to the hype?
Did it really exceed the expectations?
Yeah.
It's basically what you're saying.
Exactly.
And I will tell you honestly, the match was good. I feel like everybody delivered, everybody played their role. And aside from the ending, this is completely taking away Ellsworth, climbing the ladder. Interfering, climbing the ladder, and just handing it to Carmella. The match was good. Could they have done better? Hell yeah, they could have. Because if you look at the matches those girls had in NXT, what happened to that spark? What happened to that fire? And I just hope they can bring that back for Evolution at least, because it's really going to elevate, all the women and stuff.
And I'm excited to see what they're out to bring, all that new young talent from NXT, from the Mae Young Classic. So it's a really, really big thing. Excited. But let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes, man.
Yeah.
There's so many ways they can go with this, and I'm just hoping they do the right thing and they just give us, what the people want to see.
One hell of a show.
Yeah, one hell of a show, basically. That's all we're asking for. And one last thing to close off on the entire Evolution thing. Armando and I have been longtime fans for over 15 years. Yes, I know, that's a really long time. We've seen, women go from like the bra and panties matches, the pillow fights, from having 30 to 2-minute to 3-minute matches, and like we've seen the Give Divas a Chance movement start. We've seen everything, we've had them go from 2 to 3-minute matches and all this stuff to simply being like eye candy to main eventing pay-per-views and having like the same opportunity as the men. And we'll see where they go from there. Like, I'm excited to see.
And like I said, Evolution is a great opportunity to bring new talent into the WWE.
And hopefully we get to main event WrestleMania super soon. I have a feeling it's happening next year. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Towards the end of the show, we will let you guys know why. But for now, let's move on to SmackDown. This is a show, man. I just gotta throw that out there. This is the show. They had, 4 or 5 matches, and I was more entertained than I was in 3 hours of Raw. No hate towards Raw, but I'm dead serious.
SmackDown is the A show.
Yep.
It's the It show.
It is.
And I've always said it, not just to underestimate Raw, but I feel that the way they see it is that SmackDown is the B brand, and a lot of those guys know that Raw is the top brand. So they're trying to prove themselves. So they go out there and they give everything they got, and that's why they deliver a lot of the good shows out there.
For a 2-hour show, this is really like
it's really good.
It's a show, and like they book everybody. Everybody gets time, and you see different people each week.
And it's done correctly.
Yeah.
And it's done correctly.
It's booked right. Whoever is booking SmackDown, please help Raw because they need some assistance over there. Anyways, let's stop throwing shade at Raw now and get into some real business, okay? The show starts off with Becky Lynch and Carmella. Becky says, she's gonna challenge Carmella for the for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then like Carmella comes out, and at this point, I completely thought she was gonna turn face. I thought this was it. We're gonna lose here at Carmella. There's no way I cannot have her turn face. She is like the perfect heel right now. And she starts going on about how she admires Becky and how Becky played a huge role in the whole entire women's evolution type thing. She starts crying, all this stuff, and eventually, she's about to hit her with the chair. And when she's gonna hit her with the chair, someone's music hits. Charlotte comes out, and Carmella immediately grabs the chair, and she's about to hit her, and then Charlotte just, kicks it down and stuff. I don't know, man. Charlotte is back. Becky is back, and we saw this later on in the show. Like, Paige told Carmella that if she was going to face Charlotte, and that if Charlotte beat her, she was going to be added into the match between Becky and Carmella for the SmackDown Women's Championship. There's a lot of heat going around right now, but we'll get into that towards the end of the show because that was the main event. Yes, the women were at the main event of SmackDown.
And then just to think about it too, I mean, Charlotte was out for like roughly a month, 2 months, getting a boob job.
And she just comes back.
And she just comes back and she gets a title match. I mean,
she is Charlotte Flair.
I don't know, but
the controversy, the heat, how does Becky feel about that?
Yeah,
she's been fighting.
I wouldn't have liked it personally. If I was part of the women's roster, I would have been mad because it's not fair. Because you have women like Becky. Becky had to go through the entire roster pretty much
to get this opportunity, and then she gets it, and then Charlotte comes back and she's like, hey, the queen's back, I'm back in the title picture, you know, and I get it, she has like nothing to do, it's all part of a storyline, they have no control over it, but even then, it's like, really, Charlotte has been champion, 5 times already? She's about to tie, Well, she doesn't tie Trish until like another 2 title reigns, but she's about to try Trish with 7. Come on now. She just needs 2 more and she catches up to Trish.
In her short career.
So that's pretty crazy, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Because, that was our main event. Let's talk about someone we haven't seen in a really long time. The Bar versus the Usos. It's about time they used the Bar, man. Where have they been?
Just lost.
I
guess
lost.
they've been lost. No. On a serious note, I mean, if they don't know what to do with the Bar, they should just let them go back to singles competition. I mean, personally, I'm a huge fan of Cesaro. I love what he does in the ring. He's got the potential to be another one of those great superstars and maybe future WWE champ. I would like to see him get at least a small, not a mid-card title, Intercontinental or U.S. title, one of those two.
Well, I heard Creative didn't have anything for the Bar, which is why they weren't on TV. So, again, it's like with the tag team division that SmackDown has
which
right now.
Fire.
Yeah, exactly. How do you not have anything for the Bar? Like, makes
there's
no
so much
sense.
potential you could do with that tag team division and with the Bar. But like I said, if you really don't have anything for them, why not send them back on singles competition? I mean, they both had success being singles competitors.
Yeah, they were both successful. They both carried each other well. They carried their brand individually, and it was a great idea to put them together. But it was great while it lasted. The Usos.
Personally, I think they're the best tag team in the WWE right now.
I gotta agree with you on that because
they're killing it ever since they went ever since they turned heel. And they're day one-ish. They've just been on top of everybody, man. I mean, the matches they've had have been great. Quality
matches.
And that's what we want. That's what we want. And I mean, it has been the greatest thing that has happened to their career.
And like he said, there really isn't like a tag team that can go up against them right now. Like, yeah, you have people like, the New Day. And right now, you don't even have the Hardys together. The Hardys are probably the ones that could, like, give them that competition. But they're not together right now. They're both on separate brands, And right now, what good tag teams does Raw have as of right now? I mean, think about it. The entire tag team division is on SmackDown. And who's carrying that right now, even though they're not the tag champions? The Usos. They're out there every week, and they're proving themselves. They're showing that, hey, this is where they belong. They're ready for, I feel like another championship opportunity. Let's get into something that got really, really interesting now. Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy comes out, he says he's going to defeat Nakamura and take his title back, something that rightfully belongs to him. He says he's like super, super, super proud of this title. He wants it back, and then like Orton comes out and attacks him out of nowhere, and obviously he's heel now. That proves that he's heel now, and he completely has been destroying him for like the last 2 weeks. And this week, he just completely like took his face paint off.
Could we possibly see the return of Brother Nero?
The reincarnation of Brother Nero?
Because it seems like Randy Orton is getting bothered by Jeff Hardy's character, his face paint. You pretty much give him a bath and.
You give him a bath?
Yeah. Wash his paint face off. But like I said, Randy Orton, man, that's what we needed in SmackDown. A great top heel. They tried to do it with Nakamura. It kind of wasn't working. So they threw it back at Orton. And like I said, he's doing a great job.
He's always been a heel, though. Like, if you go back years, the Viper had the best storylines. He was somebody that was feared a lot. Now, I love this Orton. I want to see more of it. I think, like you said, this is exactly what he needed, not just for, like, SmackDown, but his career as well. Like, obviously, he doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. He's already been past that. He's a veteran now. You can basically consider this guy a legend already. But, dude, that's crazy. He just completely just goes out there and destroys him, And, like, Nakamura, he hasn't touched Nakamura just yet, but he has had a stare down with him. Where are they going with this?
Yeah, could we see some type of tag team alliance? Who knows? Same thing. Is he really going after Jeff, or is he really going for Nakamura? And then see, this is another thing that makes SmackDown great. You have three main eventers going for the U.S. title.
Yeah, because Randy Orton can main event any day of the week, right? But instead of having him go for the WWE Championship, he's going for the U.S. title. So is Jeff Hardy, and so is Nakamura. Do you see that on Raw? No, that's not something you see on Raw. You see the same guys going for the title all the time. Why can't somebody like Roman Reigns, for example, go for the Intercontinental Championship? Why does he have to be, always in the Universal title picture?
Right. And I mean, we've already seen, could piggyback on Raw and what she was saying. We're gonna see Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins most likely at SummerSlam. We've already seen that like at least 3 or 4 times.
And don't get me wrong, each time it's good, but there's only so much you can do with the storyline, and there's only so much you can do with, characters. And like it's the same thing with like Roman and Lesnar. There's only so much you can do with it, And like the Sasha versus Charlotte, there's only so much you can do with the character and with like 2 individual superstars. All right, let's get to. I want to say it was the favorite part, but I also don't want to say it was my favorite part. It was one of the best parts of the night, obviously. SmackDown had a great show. Let's get into Lana versus Zelina Vega. This was Zelina Vega's debut match in SmackDown Live. She goes out there. She comes out. Let me just tell you. She comes out to Andrade's music. That is, I was just like, I don't know. I was like, does she have a theme song? Does she not have a theme song? I haven't seen her wrestle in a really long time. She's still really, really good. And I think something that the women need is more male managers. Like, yeah, the only person that actually has, like, an actual manager as of right now, well, as of, like, 2 weeks ago,
it
was Carmella.
With Ellsworth.
And he, don't get me wrong, he's doing a great job. But I think having Andrade kind of just manage and be there for Zelina.
Kind of like what she does to him.
Yeah, kind of like what she does to him is really, like, gonna change things in the women's division as well, because you don't really see that. It's mainly always the women being the managers and like guiding the superstars.
And it's something new. It's something new that us as fans would like to see. I mean, personally, I would like to see that. But like you said, it's rare when you have a male talent being a woman's manager.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not something you see very, very often. Like Lana, for example, Rusev wasn't there. She didn't have somebody in her corner. Yeah, she didn't have anybody in her corner. What if he would have been there? Would the outcome have been different of this match? Like, Zelina obviously pinned Lana, but like I'm saying, like, if we had more male wrestlers being there and supporting the women, and trying to elevate them to get to that level, then I feel like the women's division would be a lot more interesting. And I mean, that match was great. I liked it.
Another thing too, Lana should completely cut the Russian accent. I mean, it's clearly that she loses character. She breaks character. I mean, she should just stick to regular English. I mean, she gets confused losing Total Divas in SmackDown.
Everybody knows she can speak Russian, but that she also speaks English. Yeah. So it's kind of like there's no point of going on with this gimmick, according to Armando. Personally, I don't know. I feel like just keep her speaking English. She could be managing other people too. Like, she can't just be there for Rusev, Aside from this, let's get into something that has been in the works for like a little bit over a year now. Daniel Bryan challenges The Miz, and The Miz didn't give him a definite answer. And let's be honest here. The Miz has carried this feud on his own for a little bit over a year now.
Without
Daniel Bryan. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you did have Daniel Bryan down and talking smack, and this is basically where it all started, when he got called a coward, and he just completely blew up at Daniel Bryan's face, which is still by far my favorite thing to watch. But yeah, like, The Miz is a legend. The guy can talk. He's carried this feud on his own, and even though, like, yeah, Bryan did take a few parts of it, It's not the same.
And look what he did with the B team.
Yeah, they're Raw Tag Champions right now.
They were the Mistrage, and he gave them the opportunity. And
hey, now they're champions. You just never know that guy.
Pair me up with the Miz.
He wants to be part of the Mistrage. Hey, I say go for it. The Mistrage was successful as hell. What's another thing I can say about the Miz? His feuds are worth watching. Personally, I would have saved this feud to WrestleMania. This is a WrestleMania-worthy match. Come on. Let's be honest now.
Just the build up.
Yeah, just the build that they've had. Like, over on Talking Smack, really? You're going to put this match in SummerSlam?
And
don't get me wrong.
On top of that, the Miz's setup was genius. It was genius.
You're talking about the baby?
I really thought he did have Monroe Sky with him. And I was like, oh my god, he just threw his baby, and it turned out it was just a doll.
But the look on Brian's face, priceless, completely priceless. He was not expecting that. And that's what makes the Miz so good. He's that good of a heel. He, invests himself in the character. You can tell that man, oh my god, why is he not champion? Nothing against AJ. I love AJ. But
yeah, and again, glad Daniel Bryan got cleared from his neck injury and was able to return.
And we're going to see, a lot more from him.
And we'll see what WWE has in store for him, but I like to see him in a title run.
At least one more time?
Yes, I would like to see him, but not at this moment. I feel that the SmackDown roster is too stacked, that they should give the opportunity to him. I know that Daniel Bryan is best for business, but
it's not something you're looking forward to right now.
No.
Yeah,
give him some time. And I'm all about being fairness. It's not fair for the rest of the guys that are out there, and just have guys like Daniel Bryan, Roman.
Hey, by all means, Samoa Joe, do it. Andrade Cien Almas, do it. There's a lot of people down there that can get the opportunity to be champion, And we're all about not being biased against anybody. So, hey, it is what it is. We love wrestling for what it is. So, One last thing. Let's get into the last match of the night. The women main eventing again. Just pointing that out there. Both the women main evented on both shows. So, Carmella versus Charlotte. If Charlotte wins, she would be inserted into the match at SummerSlam against Becky. So now the match is a triple threat. Again, as we were talking about this earlier, Charlotte comes, gets a title opportunity. Is that fair? No, not really, because you have people like Naomi, you have people like, I don't know, other women that are in this roster that are super good, that have a lot of potential, and you still keep seeing Charlotte still up there. And there's a lot of heat going around on social media too. People aren't happy because she just came, won a match, and she's suddenly in the title picture again.
So we'll see what happens. Now that Ellsworth is gone, you think Carmella's gonna retain?
I don't know, but I will say this though. It was pointless to bring Ellsworth back,
for that short time.
Yeah,
if she's gonna have a short title reign.
Yeah,
I was expecting him to be there longer, so Carmella could have
at least up until the Rumble, where it was going so good. And don't get me wrong, she does good on her own. She can carry her own self. She can carry the SmackDown brand. But, it was something different, like we were talking about earlier, like the management type thing. I love Carmella as champion, but the thing is she retaining at SummerSlam? Is she losing? It can go both ways. I know there's plans for the future. And we'll give you guys another spoiler.
Spoiler!
I'll give you one spoiler, and Armando will give you the other spoiler. Are you guys ready? You're hearing it again.
Here first.
On Wrestling with Siblings. So just remember, if this does end up happening.
You heard it here first.
Yep. So.
And keep in mind, this is our prediction, thinking what's going to happen.
Trying to look a little bit into the future. This can and cannot happen. It just depends. The first spoiler, I want to say something.
Say it.
The Royal Rumble winner for the 2019 Royal Rumble in Arizona next year is going to be Charlotte Flair. Mark my words, Charlotte is winning the Royal Rumble Next year.
Wrong. It's gonna be Ronda.
Charlotte is winning, and I will tell you why. Charlotte is gonna go on to main event WrestleMania, and mark my words, it will happen. She's winning. She's winning the Rumble, guys. Think about it. Who else can win it other than Ronda or Charlotte?
Just those two, but I have Ronda.
You have Ronda?
I would throw some money on Ronda.
I personally think Charlotte Flair is winning it. I mean, if you guys have any other predictions, let us know in the comment below. That's it for tonight's episode of Wrestling with Siblings. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you for all the love and support. We'll see you guys next time on Wrestling with Siblings. Let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We do read you guys' comments, so please leave us some comments so that we have something to do during the week and so we can come back better next week, okay? Have a good night, guys. We'll see you guys next week on Wrestling with Siblings.
A lot of exciting things are coming. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.